10 Battlefield 4 facts you might not know. Did you know Battlefield 4 is the most boring game ever? Oh shit, I got the wrong game. A lot of video games have expanded lore that fleshes out the world beyond the gaming experience. Whether it be movies, books, or audio cassettes, it can be fun to learn even more about your favorite games. So did you know Battlefield 4 has a book? Yeah, I'm not talking about a strategy guide, but a straight-up novel that takes place before the single player of Battlefield 4. You know, that thing you never played, and if you did, forgot about it literally moments after the credits rolled? Anyways, yeah, Battlefield 4 Countdown to War is a novel written by Peter Grimsdale that tells the story before the game's single-player campaign. The story focuses on Agent Kovic, a CIA agent featured in both Battlefield 3 and 4, and provides a bit of backstory for Tombstone, your squad in the game. The book came out on October 24th, 2013, so damn, technically, the game is a copy of the book. Come on, EA, just a reskin of the book? Come on, ugh. Usually a game will have some big new feature as a selling point, especially with a long-running series. Developers try to add something new that stands out. The original Battlefield had huge player counts, Bad Company had destruction, and Battlefield 4 had LEvolutions. These were big events that could change the layout of a map, like a skyscraper falling or a dam breaking and flooding a level. The name sure is dumb, but the events are pretty cool. So when the game's first DLC pack, China Rising, came out, it was weird that LEvolutions were nowhere to be found. But it was later discovered by the user Dirty Fat Fingers that these maps were supposed to have LEvolution events. In the game's files, it showed that Altai Range was supposed to have a snowstorm, Silk Road, a sandstorm, and Gillian Peaks was supposed to have heavy fog. Woo! Why these were cut is unknown, but since they were all kind of the same thing and not as eventful as the ones in the main game, they're not really missed. Later DLC packs had these events, so this one's exclusion was weird. Speaking of the China Rising DLC pack, China wasn't too happy about that one. Battlefield 4 was originally available for sale in China, same as the rest of the world. But after the release of the China Rising DLC pack, the Chinese government decided to ban the sale and ownership of the game. Because the DLC featured maps in the Chinese mainland, they decided it was a risk to national security. Even though the main game also did so, I don't know what changed their mind. Anyways, yeah, the game was banned and it was requested that anyone who bought the game removed it from their consoles or PC. So there's a deep, dark, underground Battlefield ring somewhere in China, and if you can find it, the real battle field begins. The Frostbite Engine is DICE's baby, an engine they designed from the ground up to make the best looking game that they could. With Battlefield 4, the Frostbite 3 engine was the latest version of the engine, allowing for higher resolution textures and particle effects. A feature also added with Frostbite 3 was something I never really thought about but found super interesting: networked water. In a lot of other online games, some elements don't match up, like certain effects or ragdolls, but they aren't important to the gameplay, so it's not a big deal. This networked water system, however, allows players to see the same waves at the same time, making maps like Paracel Storm possible. These epic waves were definitely something new in Battlefield 4, and made playing with boats and jet skis way more fun than in previous games. Networked water, my god, what will they think of next? What do you guys think the next big gaming innovation will do? Oh, god. Sorry, my water's not networked. In the AAA games market, it seems like more and more games come out broken, full of bugs, glitches, and all that crap. When Battlefield 4 launched, it's no secret that the game was just a broken mess, but it's not only gamers that were mad at EA. Several lawsuits were brought upon EA from investors who claimed EA falsely advertised the quality of the game to them. While most of them were dropped because supposedly the statements were made after investors invested, it's still good to see there are some checks and balances in place other than the gamers. Sadly, most game companies won't listen to anything but a gamer's wallet. If a game doesn't sell well, then they'll get the message. So if the guys with the really big money, EA's investors, aren't happy, they know they need to step up their game. And we've already seen a shift in EA game launches, from the hell that was SimCity and Battlefield 4 to pretty stable releases of Hardline and Battlefront. And even the introduction of the CTE is a great step forward for fan interaction. We care about our customers. Objection! Well, we're working on it. Speaking of working with fans, EA has surprisingly done a great job supporting Battlefield 4, with constant free updates featuring new guns, gadgets, and as of late, maps. Several new maps have been released for Battlefield 4 free of charge, from brand new environments to night variations of existing maps. But one of the maps was completely designed with input from the community. Which one could it be? Maybe this one? Maybe the one called Community Operations? Just a guess. Wild guess. If you were involved, you know the process, but for those who weren't, Community Operations map, later called Operation Outbreak, was designed with constant community feedback. It was voted upon whether or not the map would take place in a jungle, desert, or mountain environment, and jungle clearly won. Then different layouts were voted on, and even the overall size of the map. An early version of the map without textures was also released in Battlefield 4's CTE that players could try out and give feedback on. The map's temple area was initially just a waterfall, but after the community's input, a whole new section of the map was added. Even the name was voted upon. It's just one map, but the fact that they took all the time to include player feedback means they really care about the Battlefield community. Aww. Super quick mini fact, look, in the 17-minute gameplay trailer released before the game came out, there's changes. See, here you do that, but here you don't do that anymore. So, yeah. Many video game series have great parodies made by fans such as Halo with Red vs. Blue and countless Egoraptor cartoons. But the greatest and most influential has to be the brilliant and ingenious Battlefield Friends series. And I'm not just saying that because I'm part of the BFF's team or nothing. No, but seriously, it's a fun series that has become relatively popular within the Battlefield community. And Battlefield 4's developers are actually fans of the series as well. So much so that many elements from the Battlefield Friends series have actually made it into the game. The massive Megalodon Easter egg came from a joke made in a special Battlefield 4 Battlefield Friends episode, where the characters say there's megalodons in the water. A character known as Colonel 100 is so good at the game, he unlocks a bipod for his knife, something previously impossible in the game. But in an update, DICE added the C100 knife, which is a knife with a bipod on it. The song Little Birdie Legs from Battlefield Friends can be found on the night version of Zavad. Taking this seemingly just ambient noise and speeding it up reveals the sound's true nature. And in the Battlefield 4 CTE, C4 has been named Jeep Stuff and possibly Stolen Jeep Stuff, both referencing episodes of the web series. All pretty cool stuff, referencing the bestest, funniest, and most amazing series on the internet, Battlefield Friends. Was that good, Neebs? Can I keep my job now? The Battlefield series, at least in the early days, was always named after the year it took place in. For example, Battlefield 1942, 2142, 1943, Battlefield 3 BC. Shh, quiet. Capture that objective. The reason I bring this up is because Battlefield 4 is only the second game in the entire series that takes place in 2 years. Most of Battlefield 4 takes place in 2014, and boy am I glad we worked out that whole war in China thing. But one part of the game takes place in the not-so-distant future, to give Battlefield 4 that 2-year distinction. The Final Stand DLC was a, well, DLC for Battlefield 4 that took place in the year 2020, allowing for some crazy things like railguns and hover tanks. The only other game in 2 different years is Battlefield Bad Company 2, with its opening taking place in 1944 and the rest of the game taking place in modern day. Just a weird little fact considering there's so many different games in the series. Poor Wii U owners. Not because of the console itself, I think the U has a lot of great things about it. But you poor Nintendo fans have no Battlefield on the U. Wait, has there even been a Battlefield game for a Nintendo console? Who am I kidding? You know I looked this up ahead of time. There hasn't. That's crazy. But actually, we almost had a Battlefield game for the Wii U, Battlefield 3 to be exact. At E3 2011, Nintendo showed footage of Battlefield 3 on stage with an EA representative talking about how the game's visuals and fluid animations would work great with the Wii U and its revolutionary gamepad. Sorry, it's just funny because I know they're talking right out of their ass. So with the game being on stage, you would assume it was in the works for the console, and at one point it was. But it's been reported that it was canceled for a few different reasons. One, that the game was getting old and work on Battlefield 4 had already begun. 2, that there was a disagreement between Nintendo and EA over several online features. And 3, that it just wouldn't work. A tweet from an EA representative stated that Frostbite 3 has never been running on the Wii U. We did some tests with not too promising results and chose not to go down that path. I find it hard to believe that the Wii U couldn't run the Frostbite engine, but I think they just didn't want to take the time to reprogram it so it worked properly. The Wii U is the last real gaming console in a way. The PS4 and Xbox One are basically tiny gaming PCs at this point, but the Wii U is the only one left with its own special architecture. Unfortunately, that leads to mainstream engines like Frostbite not working on the Wii U, so no Battlefield for you, Wii U, maybe on the NX. How does this apply to Battlefield 4? Well, after Battlefield 3 was canceled, it was rumored that Battlefield 4 was in the works. But that was canceled too. Or maybe it's coming out in 2016 with Battlefield 5. Thank you guys so much for watching. I hope you learned a few things about Battlefield 4. Did you guys know these facts, or do you know any other facts about Battlefield or other games that you find really interesting? Let me know in the comment section below, and maybe we'll make a video about those games. I'll see you guys next time. If you want to help out the show, please like, subscribe, and check us out on Twitch. I'll see you guys there. Have a good night. Many of you guys don't know this. I'm actually kneeling when I record these videos, and my feet fall asleep every time. Now I gotta walk it off and bring them back to life. Come on, feet. Come on, legs. Ah. All right, let's do this.